Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by A.G. Hines Company. For the last 100 years, A.G. Hines Company has been East Tennessee's leader when it comes to top quality building materials and tools. If you want your next project to last 100 years, get down to A.G. Hines Company in downtown Knoxville. All right, I've already mentioned him. Let's go ahead and introduce Justin Hamilton, sitting right down there. Justin played at Virginia Tech from 2002 to 2005. Did I get that right?
Correct.
You then went into coaching at your alma mater, worked your way up, basically safeties coach, working with the secondary. Then the last 2 years, you were defensive coordinator up there. You're in a Power 5, basically in terms of churning pro prospects into the NFL, the ACC, second only to the SEC. And last year, your defense was fifth in the ACC in scoring. Not bad. Justin, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
It's good to get some outside perspective on some of this stuff. But since you're at Virginia Tech, I thought this would be an added bonus. Tennessee's quarterback, who the fans have fallen in love with and who has made himself into a Heisman candidate, is Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker started his career at Virginia Tech. What did you see from him when he was in Blacksburg?
First of all, a young man that's much bigger than what you think. When you get up to him in person, he is a big dude. And then a guy that, son of a coach, who understood how the offense was supposed to run, was able to make plays and extend plays with his feet. Guys in the locker room followed him. He had that natural leadership characteristic. And, you know, he was also a guy that had to do his time as a backup. And he earned that spot in 2019 in the Miami game. He really turned our season around from that point forward.
What have you seen in terms of an evolution of him now that he's at Tennessee?
Really a guy that, in general, is older and wiser, more mature, but also in an offense that is very suiting to his talents. And you can see that with the efficiency. You can also see that with his confidence. I can just, from watching him, whether in person or on TV, you can see the Hendon confidence that we started to see at Virginia Tech, which has obviously been very good for Tennessee.
Go ahead.
Justin, with the up-tempo offense that Josh Heupel runs, is the offense more difficult on the defense in terms of, does it wear the defense down, or do you get more mismatches, create mismatches?
I think it's both. It certainly wears the defense down. I mean, when you play, it's not so much the play count. You can play a lot of snaps against the team that oozes the ball down the field, but it's how quick one series becomes the next series. That's really what wears the defense down. But I think, too, when you watch Tennessee, you don't see a ton of concepts. You see good concepts, but you don't see a ton of those. So what they do is with their spacing or throughout the course of the game, they start to say, when we are in these formations, this is what we're getting. And that's really what becomes difficult because you have to get lined up. You don't have time as a defensive play caller to get in the proper scheme or the proper thing that would stop what you expect. You've got to get 11 to play as one. And that's really now where it becomes, where are our number advantages? Are they on the perimeter or are they in the box? And Tennessee calls their offense based off of that.
One thing I've noticed is he's so good at avoiding throwing interceptions, making mistakes. What is it about him that he's been able to do that, I guess, kind of throughout his career?
You know, at Virginia Tech, it was very similar in the style of passing game that Tennessee's offense is. It was a lot of play action. It was a lot of the same picture that a defense sees in the tempo plays, whether it be inside, outside zone or a power counter play, but it's max protection off of that. So he feels protected. It's usually for him when there's three wide receivers flexed, it's a binary read to the strength of the field or to the strength of the formation, or if the rotation goes to the strength, then he's going backside. And that was the same style of offense at Virginia Tech. We just didn't play with that pace. But what he does is he understands pre-snap what coverage he can anticipate. He understands which side of the field to work off of that coverage, and then he understands how to play off of the leverages. And the receivers do a good job. They adjust their routes based on the coverages that they get, and they seem to be on the same page.
Because he plays in this veer and shoot offense, he's going to get questions when it comes to the next level. He's listed, I think, number 8 on Mel Kiper's list for quarterback prospects, 4 slots behind Anthony Richardson. Blows me away. But you look at a kid like Hendon Hooker, and one of the things all those guys face is, well, it's the system. He's not reading the field the way a quarterback in a regular system would read it. It's that up-tempo that's jumping his numbers up there. Some of these guys get to the NFL and make it anyway. They got it up here. They know what they're doing. What do you see in him in terms of his pro potential?
I think in terms of going back to the system, any coach in any level of football, whatever your quarterback does best, that probably should be your offensive system.
Right.
No matter whether it's the NFL, whether it's college, or whether it's Pop Warner. If the quarterback does it well, that better be your system. So every quarterback is a product of a system, so to speak. But for me, what I think is Hendon has the mental capacity to learn an offense. Obviously, he did that here. But he can learn concepts. He can learn complex concepts. And I think he is a guy that in the NFL, it's a man-to-man coverage league. He puts the ball in tight windows. He understands how to read the coverage adjustments, as I mentioned earlier, and he can extend plays. He can extend drives. He's going to have to probably learn how to play without taking some of the shots that he takes if he's going to make it at the next level. But to me, he's a guy that's going to get an opportunity. And if he continues doing what he's done to this point in his career, you could see on some rosters that one day he's out there starting and nobody's really surprised about it.
It's also helping him that the NFL game is changing because these are the types of systems run in college and these are the types of quarterbacks that are being pushed forward into the league. More and more league teams are saying, well, we got to adapt to this. We got to go where the quarterbacks are. So that should open up his opportunities as well. Justin, hang around with us. We're going to bring out Will Overstreet, Marlon Walls next. I want to talk about what it would be like for a defensive coordinator to be paired with Josh Heupel's offensive system. We've talked about the numbers since he was hired. Adam Sparks of the Sentinel wrote about the numbers this week. We'll show you those numbers. What can Tennessee do to improve their defense, or is it simply a matter of redefining what we say is good defense? That's next on the Sports Source. Come on back.
Miss an episode? Catch up at sportsource.tv or our YouTube channel.